In the last two classes, we have seen how we can utilize the aggregate method for doing amortized analysis. Today, we are going to see another method, namely accounting method for doing amortized analysis on a sequence of data structure operations. So, the topic is accounting method for amortized analysis. So, let us recollect the definition of amortized analysis. This is what we discussed about it. Let S be a sequence of n operations. Operations are O1, O2, etc., On, which are performed on a data structure, and assume that the cost of performing each operation I is Ci. Ci means the cost of performing the ith operation. For example, it can be push, pop, a sequence of n times. Okay, the first operation can be pushed, the second can again be pushed, like that. So, in that case, C1 will be C1 and C2 will be the same cost, and in general assume that for the ith operation, Ci is the actual cost of performing the operation for all I from 1 to n. Now, if we look at the timeline, which starts maybe at 0, we are assuming that the first operation started performing at this time instant, and when we say that its cost is C1, that means the amount of time that O1 is taking in the CPU for its execution is C1 unit of time. So, for this duration of time, the operation O1 is in execution. Similarly, we can assume that O2 starts at this time interval and goes for C2 unit of time, likewise it goes. Okay, and the last operation starts at this point and goes for Cn unit of time. So, given this, what is the total cost of performing the sequence of n operations? It is nothing but the summation of all the cost from C1 to Cn. So, the actual total cost is summation I equal to 1 to n Ci, that is C1 plus C2 plus etc. plus Cn, that is the total execution time. And note that the basic objective of an amortized analysis is to find the total worst case execution time or the complexity of a sequence of n operations on a data structure. Now, when you can say that an amortized analysis is correct, suppose you are looking at this sequence of operations and you want to find the amortized cost of the entire sequence of operations as a function of n. Say f of n is that function that you want to compute. Now, suppose that you applied a method and you obtained the time complexity or the asymptotic complexity, the total complexity as a function f of n. Now, the question is when that method can be correct. You know that the actual total complexity is this. Okay. So, to be correct, the worst case must be greater than or equal to the actual total cost. I hope you are following me. This is the actual total cost, and when you want to do an amortized analysis, you have to first come up with the total time taken, and whatever be the time that you are going to compute, that must be greater than or equal to the total actual time. Okay, then you can say that your analysis is correct. Okay, now we can see what is this method say when we use accounting method for doing amortized analysis. How will you do that? Let us try to understand what is accounting method using an illustrative example. Let block be a data structure, okay, with two operations, enter and exit, with actual cost 1 and 1 respectively. That is, the actual cost of enter operation is 1 unit of time, and actual cost of exit operation is again 1 unit of time. Suppose that it is given to you. Now we want to do an amortized analysis on this data structure block. When we do a sequence of n operations, each operation can be enter or exit. Okay, now block could be a queue of tasks in an operating system which are blocked on an operation or on a resource. Okay, so the processor should enter the block states during the execution, and later it can exit when that resource is becoming available. Now what can be the total cost for a correct analysis? You note that here the actual cost is 1 unit of time for both exit and enter operations. So for any correct analysis, the total cost is n, and any correct analysis should produce a value which is greater than or equal to n. This is what we saw from the previous slide. Now let us see what is accounting method. So this is the requirement. If n is the actual total cost, the method should obtain a value which is greater than or equal to the total cost in the actual case. Okay, if you are getting a precise method, you will get it exactly as n, but it is okay if you are getting a value which is greater than or equal to n. This is the correctness condition. Okay, now what is accounting method? Which allows to assign different amortized costs for different operations in a data structure. Even though the actual cost of the enter operation is 1 and exit operation is 1, maybe you can say that the amortized cost of enter is 2 rather than 1, and it also allows you to say that the amortized cost of exit is say 0. That you can do. I will make it clear. Some operations can be overcharged and some other operations can be undercharged, provided the total cost of performing a sequence of an operation is an upper bound on the worst case time requirement. If this is the worst case time requirement, then the total cost obtained by the analysis must be greater than or equal to n. But during the analysis, some operations can be overcharged. For example, you can say that the amortized cost or charge of enter operation is 2, that is overcharging, and if you say that the charge of exit operation, that is the amortized cost, is 0, then that is undercharging. Maybe you can consider this like you are going to a fruit shop, and suppose that this is a very big shop where each customer is assisted by a supplier. And when you move along the corridor where all these fruits are displayed, maybe the course are also displayed. What you can do is, what you are supposed to do is, whenever you take a fruit, then you have to pay for it. The assistant is coming with you, the moment you can pay to him. Okay. Now assume that first you want to buy an apple, and for an apple the price shown is 30 rupees, okay. And now suppose that you know that you have to pay for it, but you don't have change, you have only a 50 rupees currency, Indian currency. So what you can do is, then you keep that 50 rupees to the assistant, he is from the shop, then you proceed. So what you did is, you bought an apple, now the cost is only 30 rupees, but you have already paid 50 rupees, 50. So it is overcharged. How much? 20 rupees overcharged. Then when you go to the next item, you saw that some banana is there, and you want to pick 2 bananas, and for one banana suppose the price shown is 10 rupees. So actually you have to pay 20 rupees, but this time you don't have to pay anything, because already you have a credit of rupees 20. So you can buy 2 bananas without paying any extra amount. So in this case, actually you are paying 0 extra amount for buying 2 more bananas or 2 bananas, and hence you can say that now it is undercharged, because the actual cost is 20, but you are charging 0 rupees. So you try to remember this, whenever you are buying an item, you can give some more amount, so that the remaining amount, the balance amount will be in your credit, and that you can utilize later. Similarly, in amortized analysis, say when you want to perform the enter operation, the process wants to enter the critical section, you can say that rather than 1 unit of time, you assume that 2 units of time it is taking, and then you can say that it is overcharged. So 1 unit of time is already in the credit of that process, and maybe later when it wants to come out of the blocked queue, you can say that the additional time consumed is 0. Why? Because originally it was 1, but that 1 is already in your credit, in the credit of the process, and this is basically accounting method. I think now you are getting me. So some operations can be overcharged, and then maybe that overcharged amount can be maintained as the credit, and later that can be used to pay for future purchases, or maybe to pay for the time taken for the future operations. Okay, we can see an example. Now this is the original cost. Original cost C for enter operation is 1, but the amortized cost, which is represented as C cap, the amortized cost of enter is taken as 2. Okay, this is overcharging, because only 1 is the actual unit of time, but you have charged 2 units, and here you are undercharging. Exit, you are saying that it is 0. Now you assume that 2 rupees, you take it as payment of rupees, 2 rupees should be paid by the process to enter the blocked state. Okay, so this is what we are trying to model. This is assume that there is an operating system, and now the process P1 is executing, and no process is there in the blocked queue. And now suppose P1 wants some input output operation which is not enabled now, then it has to wait. So what it do is, it enters the blocked queue and we are assuming that the amortized cost of entering the blocked queue, that is the enter operation, is 2 unit of time. So you paid as of now a total of 2 rupees, right? And the P1 process is waiting. What we discussed is that P1 is actually holding a credit of 1 rupee with it, because actual cost is only 1. You have paid or this process has paid 2 rupees, so 1 rupee is extra. Now suppose P2 is now executing and P2 also gets into the blocked queue. Maybe it wants to get some operation or get some resource which is not available. Then P2 enters the blocked queue of processes, right? Again, the amortized cost that this process is paying is 2 rupees. And not that out of the 2 rupees, it is holding a credit of 1 rupee. So each process is having a credit of 1 rupee with it. As of now, the total amount paid is 2 enter operations. So the total amortized cost is 2 plus 2. Now suppose P1 gets out, sorry, P2 gets out of the blocked queue. Now you are assuming that you are not paying any extra amount, because the actual cost is 1 which was already there in its credit. So from the credit, P2 paid 1 rupee and comes out. Similarly, P1 can also come out. And here again, note that the total cost paid is 2 rupees, and which is the total actual cost. Total actual cost is 2 enter operations plus 2 exit operations, 2 plus 2, 4, and the amortized cost is again 4. So this is a correct analysis, because if you find an amortized cost, the total cost, which is greater than or equal to the actual value, then it is a correct analysis. In this particular case, the actual value is 4 and the actual value is 4 and the amortized cost is again 4. So you are getting a correct analysis. And note that to be correct, the amortized total cost can be any value greater than or equal to 4. Now you see that each enter operation is charged 1 extra rupee, because 1 is the actual cost, you are charging 2 rupees, and which can be accounted as a credit of the process in the blocked queue. Okay, the extra rupees paid or the extra time assumed for execution is accounted as a credit of that process in the blocked queue, and that is why this name is called accounting method. An operation can be overcharged and the overpayment will be accounted as the credit of that particular object. Okay. Now this is what we have to do. We have to find the total worst case time for performing a sequence of n operations, where each operation O1, O2, etc. On, each of the operations in this is assumed to have the actual cost C1, C2, etc. So what is the total cost of performing all these operations? That we saw, it is nothing but adding all the costs, right? That is the actual total cost. An accounting method allows to assign different amortized costs for all operations. You know that there are n operations, and C1, C2, etc. Cn are the actual cost for all these operations, and actually you can have amortized cost such that the total amortized cost is greater than or equal to the total actual cost. Okay. If you perform a sequence of n operations, what is the total actual cost, which is the RHS, and you can assign amortized cost for each operation from 1 to n such that the total amortized cost is greater than or equal to the total actual cost. Okay. For example, in this case we saw that this is the actual total cost. One enter operation, second enter operation, first exit operation, second exit operation. So total is this quantity, that is the RHS is 4. And what is the LHS? LHS is actually the sum of the amortized cost. If you remember, 2 was assumed as the amortized cost of enter operation. So 2 plus 2. Then if you recall, 0 was assumed as the cost of exit. So 2 plus 2 plus 0 plus 0. In this case, both are same, and hence it's the correct analysis. And recall that an operation of I can be overcharged. When an operation is said to be overcharged, when the amortized cost is greater than the actual cost. For example, enter operation, the actual cost is 1, amortized cost in the previous case is assumed as 2 greater than 1. So then it is called overcharge. So the push operation, the insert operation is overcharged, and which is accounted as a credit of an object in the data structure. For example, P1, P2, those processes, right? The extra cost is nothing but the amortized cost minus the actual cost. Okay, and an operation is undercharged if the amortized cost is less than the actual cost. For example, the delete operation from the blocked queue, the actual cost is 1, but the amortized cost is 0. 0 is less than 1. I hope you are getting me. Now you see that this is the actual cost of enter and this is the amortized cost. So it is overcharged because the difference is positive. Okay, the difference is a positive value. And if difference is 0, then it is the actual price, right? And now if you look at the exit case, the amortized cost is less than the actual cost, and hence it is undercharged, and the difference is -1. When the difference is minus, it is undercharged, and when it is positive, it is overcharged. Now an important question to ask is, can the cumulative credit means the total credit that the data structure maintains for various objects, right? Suppose you perform 3 insert operations, then the total credit will be 1 plus 1 plus 1, 3, because each insert operation there is 1 extra rupee. So for 3 operations it is 1 plus 1 plus 3. Okay, and not that the amortized cost, for example 2 for insert operation minus the actual cost, that is 1 for the insert operation, that is 2 minus 1 is 1, and that is the credit for the first process in the waiting queue or the blocked queue. And the sum of such credit, can it be negative at any point of time? So what is your answer? Individually maybe you can say that the -1 is the cost, that is a different issue, but can the sum of credit negative at any point of time in the sequence? Sequence is performing n operations, and the answer is no, because suppose it can be negative, then it fails to satisfy this condition. You stop the sequence the moment you get the total negative. Total negative means the total actual cost must be 0 or more, and if the total is negative, then that means at that point of time, when n becomes that particular point, this equation fails, and hence we have to take the following as a necessary condition, that is at any point of time for I is equal to 1 to k, where k k is any value less than or equal to n. N is the length of the sequence. For any subsequence, the total credit must be greater than or equal to 0. The total credit can be 0, but it can never be negative. Okay. So, this is a very important condition, not very difficult to remember, which we need for discussing some methods for doing the amortized analysis on our stack data structure and the binary counter. Okay. So, discussing accounting method for this, we need this equation. And what is it? It says that at any point of time during the execution of that sequence, the total credit must be non-negative. That is what we are saying. Okay, it is a necessary condition. And we can also prove that this is a sufficient condition. That means, if that condition is satisfied, then the correctness is followed. This is the correctness. The total amortized cost is greater than or equal to the total actual cost. Okay, we can prove that if this is the case, if you assume this, then this can be proved. So, how will you do that? Please do not get worried about this formula. What I did is, this is the middle value here. I just added the same quantity and then subtracted it. That is what I am doing. Okay. The LHS and RHS represent the same quantity, but here it is positive and here it is negative. So, these two get cancelled each other. So, this is only the middle value, which is exactly the LHS. Okay. I am just adding a positive quantity and then subtracting the same quantity to this. That is okay. Equality. Now, if you carefully look at the second and third term, sum over I is equal to 1 to n. Here it is amortized cost and here it is actual cost. So, you can take the summation outside. So, it is nothing but summation I over 1 to n, the difference of cost. This is exactly what we are getting. C cap I minus Ci. Okay. Now, if you see, this is exactly what we have here. We assume that this is a positive quantity. Okay. The second value here is a positive quantity. And then what we are actually saying, the total amortized cost is this total actual cost plus a positive quantity. That means, the total amortized cost is greater than or equal to the total actual cost, and that is the correctness criteria. And thus, we proved that this is also a sufficient condition. Okay. So, it happens to be a necessary and sufficient condition for the correctness of an accounting method, and which is nothing but the condition that at any point of time during the execution of the sequence of n operations, the total credit should be non-negative. It can be 0 or a positive value. So, what is a credit? Credit means overcharged amount. Suppose it is 10 rupees in the actual case and you are paying 15 rupees, then 5 is the credit. Okay, the total credit means you just add all the credits till now, and that is the total credit. And for an accounting method to be correct, the total credit must be non-negative. Okay. So, today we have seen accounting method for amortized analysis. Why it is called accounting method is because here we can overcharge an operation, and then the overcharged amount, that could be the time in the CPU process, CPU which is required for execution, or it could be the amount that you paid. Okay. If the actual time is less than the amortized time that you assume, then you say that it is overcharged. and we saw that we can also undercharge some other operations provided at any point of time during the execution of the sequence of n operations, the total credit must be non-negative. Okay, and in the next class we can see accounting analysis for the stack data structure, and with this we are finishing this lecture. Thank you.